Hey folks, Mr. Bowtie here. If you love the content here on Twitter, and even if you don't, make sure you bang home that follow button at the top of your screen so that way you can stay up to date on all of the great content going around the area, and you'll find more great content on my YouTube channel, the Texas High School Sports Machine.
Football Hall of Fame. I know there's people in 49 states that were happy for you, maybe not so many in Oklahoma after that 0-3 conference title game, but getting into the Hall of Fame, certainly a big honor.
It was a great honor. A lot of credit goes to my parents for basically keeping me grounded, giving me an opportunity to grow up in a great household and taught me all the right things and right things to do, right things to say. Credit to all my teammates, all the coaches that had a tremendous impact on my career. And I was just I was glad to be in the house. I went in class of 2023 with guys like Reggie Bush, Tim Tebow, Dwight Freeney. So I was blessed to just be in the building. So it's great to be considered one of the best to ever do it.
There's a lot of people that look back to that 0-3 Kansas State-Oklahoma game as maybe the beginning of the beginnings of the playoff, because Kansas State beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma still ended up in the national title game, lost that, and they had a split national championship. You still think about that game 21 years ago and how it kind of set the stage not just for Kansas State, but really for how college football would change over the decades?
I think being a former player, you think about mini games, some good, some bad. But what I try to do is I try to reflect on the relationships that I have with my teammates, coaches, and people that I've met along my journey. For me, that's more important than, because you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But relationships will last forever.
Bill Snyder, who's about 9,000 years old, I think he played for him back in the day. He didn't have to change colors because he went from Willis to Kansas State. What was it kind of like playing at Kansas State? Because again, the state of Kansas, you're still thinking basketball. You're still not thinking football. And although Kansas State did have another good run with Bill Snyder.
Well, if you're near Lawrence, Kansas, you think basketball. But if you're near Manhattan, you think football. For me, it was great opportunity. Didn't know much about Manhattan, Kansas. But once I got there and we got things rolling, it was a great environment, electrifying, best fans in college football.
You kind of wish you were born maybe 15, 20 years later. That way you could have cashed in on the nil and not had to be in that old amateur BS that the NCAA was still peddling back then.
Well, I get asked that question a lot of times, and I was born when I was born. I can't control that. But what I did control is what I did on the field. I think I did some great things, and if things was different now, 20, 30 million for me. But it's not about money. Nowadays, a lot of kids are chasing NIL deals. But for me, you still got to play football, and I think the more you play, the better you get. The money will come. But I definitely enjoyed it. If NIL was back then, there'd be a lot of rich players right now.
You're a coach right now, coaching in the Houston area. Some of these kids probably were not alive when you played. So what do you kind of teach them? Because these days, a lot of these kids are just trying to find where the nil money is and forgetting about playing football.
Well, I teach them to be true to themselves. There's a lot of kids that's going to play at the next level, whether that's whatever level it may be in college, and there's some kids that are going to make it to the National Football League. But I try to tell them, be the best person that you can be, because football's not going to last forever. At one point, you got to take that helmet off. And who are you without that helmet is my question to the kids.
Final question. I know you're coaching high school, but college, we're seeing a lot of improvement out of the Houston area. Houston's got Willie Fritz now. Bloomgren's been doing well at Rice. Sam Houston's completed the transition to the FBS. So looking at now college in the Houston area, it kind of seems like we might finally be seeing H-Town getting back to where they were at.
We are. Each one of those universities have great men leading their programs, and that's what they were missing. I'm glad that every university around the Houston area has been put in a place where greatness can happen. And, I'm giving, these guys 2-3 years, and they're going to be the talk of the town. They're going to be the talk of the NCAA. And the future is bright for each one of those universities. So I'm glad that I'm still allowed to see it. A lot of those guys I got to meet are great men, great leaders, and that's what's special about it.
Hey folks, Mr. Bowtie here. Keep banging home that subscribe button on your screen so that way you can stay up to date on all the great local sports coverage not found on TV or in a cheap web stream. And don't forget to hit me up on Twitter at Mr. Bowtie 1982. It's fast, it's free, and you're going to make my dogs think I'm the best person in the world. Thank you so much and enjoy the show.